In this morning session, we'll be taking a text called Mumukshu Panchakam. As already I have shared the text with all of you. Actually, I found this text very interesting, and few points have been discussed in details which will be useful for all of us. So the text explains Mumukshu Panchakam, means Moktum Ichuhu Mumukshu, the one who is desirous of liberation, the one who wants to be free. So Panchakam means 5 verses. So you can say 5 verses on Mumukshu. That means these are the 5 verses that we'll see in details, which will explain how a Mumukshu should be and what is the purpose of a Mumukshu. Now if you observe this Mumukshu, Moktum Ichuhu, the one who is desirous of liberation, the one who thinks to be liberated, the one who wants to be a happy person, the one who wants to be a free person. Now question will arise, all of us we want. Who does not want? It's like the best example is when you drive the car in traffic. This is a unique example. That when you drive your car in the traffic, you want to make sure that there is enough of space in front of you. Because if there is enough of space in front of you, so that you have your free space to drive, indirectly you need freedom. That's why the freedom of speech. That is how you want to live your life the way you want. That is how you want all sort of freedom, whether it is financial, emotional, all sort of freedom we all look for. Then what is the difference between that sort of freedom, seeking for that freedom, and here this word Mumukshu? Here we need to be little careful relating this thing, as all of you know. Many people, especially in the translation, we put Mumukshu means as seeker, which is really not that worth to discuss, because everybody is seeking. Everybody is a seeker. The one who seeks that to eat some food, also seeker. The one who seeks some money is a seeker, because basically the one who seeks for something, that person is a seeker. So how can we say Mumukshu as a seeker? That's why one has to understand what exactly Mumukshu means. That's why in culture, this is called cultural practices. Generally what we do, we say that there are 4 types of Purusarthas. Let us say seeking. If we look at our life, whatever we are looking for, whatever desire we have, all the desires put together, so that can be categorized, that can be divided into 4 categories. And that is what when we do Sankalpa, we do that what? That Chaturvidha Purusartham, Dharma Artha Kama Moksha Chaturvidha Purusartha Pratyartham. So that is a mechanically, whenever we do chant or when we do Sankalpa, whether it is Japa Sankalpa, whether it is Puja Sankalpa or any Sankalpa, mechanically we'll be starting what? Mamopata, Durita, Kshadwara, Shri Parameswara Prityartham. Of course, if you know all these things, okay, then if you do not know all these details of the day and all these things, Subha Subhane, all everything is Subha, okay? Subha Subhane, Subha Murte, Subha Lagna, Subha Aswara Yuktaya. Sometimes they add Subha Nakshatra, once one Rasi, if it is not remembered, don't worry, add also Subha. So this is very nice to observe, especially when the priest they do it, and of course when you do by yourself mechanically. Coming back, what happens? Then Chaturvidha Purusartha Pratyartham. And sometimes Chaturvidha Purusartha Dharma Artha Kama Moksha Chaturvidha Purusartha Pratyartham Ityartha. Means that there are 4 Purusarthas. So Purusartha means Purushehi Arthyate Pratyate iti Purusartha. that which is being sought after, that which is really people look for, that is called Purushartha. And all Purusharthas put together is divided into 4 categories. Starts with Artha, then comes Kama, then comes Moksha. Please understand, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. It would be great if you can mute it. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So all these Purusharthas one has to look at very carefully. So when it says that Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, so some people seek life, Artha. So Artha means security. So through security one can be a happy person. Through security one can be a free person. Please understand, behind every seeking that leads to one thing. And of course some people seek Kama, pleasure. So through pleasure you want to be free. Through pleasure you want to be happy. Through pleasure you want to liberate yourself at least. Now also there are people, those who seek Dharma. So Dharma means doing righteous things at right time. So through that also they seek the freedom, the happiness, at least freedom from one's own sense of guilt. Let me not get into in details. So, but in every seeking, there is something common, that I want to be free. I want to be a happy person. That's why that is called Parama Purushartha. That is the absolute seeking. So that's why here he says, we all want freedom. In general, we all are mumukshu without knowing what is freedom. That's the problem with all of us. It is exactly like, we always try to find some excuse. We seek, but in seeking there is excuse. We postpone. We try to find out different type of logics to establish that our seeking is different. You just observe this point. When you are a mumukshu, if you want to be a happy person, if you want to be a free person, how you keep shifting your vision, your way of looking, your way of approach time to time, with reference to relationship, with reference to power and position, with reference to sense pleasure, or whatever you have in your day-to-day life. You always justify, you always try to prove that you are right and whatever you are doing is in keeping with right way, in keeping with whatever you know. I'll give you a beautiful example how generally people function. There was a person who was habituated in drinking. So all the time he drinks. Without a drink he cannot stop. And of course everybody advised him, please at least reduce. Because too much drinking is not good. Please, you need to reduce. So when they advised him, so what to do? And of course doctor also said, look, your health is becoming bad, your liver is becoming bad, better reduce or else it will be complicated. Then of course he used to go to one particular bar to drink every day, and the bar fellow discovered he ordered for 2 glasses. So it's very unusual, what is happening? Okay, bar fellow did not say anything. So in 1 glass he drank, again he took another glass, drank. So few days continued. Then one day this bar fellow asked, what is this? In 1 glass you could have asked for 2 times. Why you are taking 2 glasses and keeping for some time drinking? He said, look, actually I am supposed to reduce drinking because not good, doctors have advised everybody and I am following it. Then why these 2? Actually one is for me, one is in the memory of my friend, because he is no more now. So but he had, before leaving this thing, he had asked me, please. So I don't want to forget him. So 1 glass for me and other glass is for my friend. Okay, it continued. Then after that, of course, because liver was becoming worse day by day, doctor said, look, still you are not doing it, you have to stop it. And one day, this bar fellow saw he is only asking 1 glass. And of course he asked, he was stunned, what is going on? So did you forget your friend? He said, no. Then what is this only 1 glass? Look, actually doctor have said not to drink. I have stopped drinking. Then what is this? This is for my friend, okay? So we try to find out excuse. Even though we all are mumukshus, please understand this is the most important aspect in life. Even though we all are mumukshus, we all are interested in freedom, in liberation, in happiness. But always we try to find some excuse. That's why our postponement happens, or you say the happiness becomes the last thing that we look in our life. Even though it is a parama purushartha, but for a common person, first is artha. Artha means the security, the money. Through that you can have power, position. You can establish your ego. You can maintain your lifestyle. Lifestyle means the way you think, okay? Not our Vedantic lifestyle, not yogic lifestyle. So, that's why the first priority for a common person is artha. Then after artha comes kama, because through artha, through money, you can buy pleasure. That is what people do it. So first artha, so you exercise your money power to buy pleasure. Then after kama comes what? Artha kama. Then comes dharma little bit, because when there is so much sense of guilty, what to do? So then let me do something here and there. Let me do what is to be done at that moment, at least to suppress, to manage my dharma. Then finally comes what? Moksha. Don't worry, that is always somewhere being hidden in your treasury box, okay? Only when you are going to leave the body, that time you look for where is my treasury box. Here it's not like that. When you are a mumukshu, this is how a common person supposed to look at. In life, if you cannot go for moksha, first you need to look for dharma first. You have to make yourself free from your sense of guilt. This is the first step one is supposed to look at in life. Because if I do not work to grow out of my sense of guilt, because I cannot suppress, I cannot destroy either. I have to manage my sense of guilt. How? By protecting dharma, what is to be done at this given moment. So when dharma is first, so in keeping with dharma, I need to look at artha. In keeping with, please understand, in keeping with dharma, I need to look at kama. So everywhere dharma is primary, then artha and kama supports dharma. But unfortunately what happens? If you observe, this is what happens most of the time in life. First thing is what happens? Dharma goes always third. First comes artha, then comes kama, then of course finally comes what? As you know what you do in life. So that's why one has to be very careful in while looking at oneself. Because if you do not look at this way in your life, definitely life will be other way around. That's why here is being said very carefully, nicely, that these are the 5 verses. How one should look at this, particularly that oneself, especially being a mumukshu. So mumukshu, when he says, now please understand, you need to have some qualification. If you go to any ashram, everybody pretends that they are, mumukshus. Just go to any ashram. So everybody pretends as though they are mumukshu, but in reality, are they mumukshu? We need to really look at very carefully. All of you, please mute, okay? Because all your whatever you are in behind background comes. Thank you. So coming back here. So here, when you have to look at yourself as a mumukshu, you need to have some qualification. Without qualification. This is the most important aspect. You cannot call yourself as a mumukshu. You will exactly behave like that drunkard fellow. Remember that drunkard fellow, how he found out all sort of excuses to drink. So that you are a mumukshu, you know how to keep your this mumukshutvam being desirous of liberation in the last place. That's why let us look at what is all about it. In the first verse, let me start so that it becomes easier to introduce you properly. Please chant the first verse. Vihayena krutva kratto vidhura karmadi vihitam dhiyam sansudhyapta chidachit avalokadinikaram. It will go a little differently. Like how we do sadhana panchakam, in the same tune it will go. Vihayena krutva krato vidhura karmadi vihitam dhiyam sansudhyaptva chidachit avalokadinikaram samaradhyacharyam nati vimati susrusana mukhyaih prapanna sampruchet vividisitam atmiyam akhilam. Actually, this verse is so tight. It gives sequences after sequences. Means you cannot breathe properly. That is how the lifestyle of a mumukshu. We say, Surasya dhara nishita durattaya in Kathopanishad. The life of a mumukshu is walking on the razor's edge. You cannot take yourself for granted. You cannot take anybody for granted. You cannot do what you want, nor you have to expect others to do what they want. That's why before looking at yourself as mumukshu, which Viveka Chudamani highlights, one of the texts of Adi Shankaracharya, beautifully says. So these are the lakshana, because who should be a student? Says, Medhavi Purusho Vidwan, Uhapoho Vichakshana, Adhikarya Atma Vidyaya, Adhikarya means Adhikari Atma Vidyaya, Utta Lakshana Lakshita. So these are the characteristics of a Adhikari, a qualified person for Atma Vidya, for self-knowledge. This is the Mumukshu. Mumukshu means what? One who wants to be a free person. As you know, the story goes, going to this Adhikari part next. The story goes like, there was a master who used to say all the time that everybody can be free. In fact, freedom is your birthright. You are born as an ignorant, but you need not die as an ignorant. But if you do not put effort, definitely you will die, you will live your life as an arrogant person, and when your arrogance increases, you will die helplessly again as an ignorant person. That's why your birthright is what? Please understand, to be a free person. Freedom is your birthright. Anybody can become free person. Anybody can be a happy person. And of course, this master was teaching all the time. And one of the disciples was following. And he discovered this master for years together is talking the same thing, but I don't see anybody is becoming free. What is going on? Maybe this master is like a parrot, just repeating the same thing again and again. And of course, he asked one day, Master, I have my own doubt. Every time you say that everybody can be free, but I don't see anybody is becoming free, including me myself. So it means, what is it possible? How is it possible? Master smiled. He said, okay, I understand. You could really find out where am I. I would request you. This is today's will be the last speech. I will not talk anymore. I will just be maunam. But before making maunam, being silence, I have decided that whoever is asking me whatever, only one thing, I will grant the boon, all my tapas, all my austerities, I will give to them. I will fulfill their desires. Then I will keep silence. So okay, this person went, announced everybody with a pen and a paper, because the teacher has asked only one desire, not two. And he put the name and what they want. And of course, evening came back and said, look, I have made a desire list. And all the people were also gathered because they are getting granted their boons. And the teacher asked, read. So when one after somebody writes, my son to be married, daughter to be married, me to be married, my son should be there, daughter should be there, power should be there, position should be there, house should be built. Each one has got list. My disease should go away. Everyone has got their own agenda, okay? And in between he reads slowly. That time teacher could not hear. Okay, what is that? Read. That was his list. I want to be the successor. You understand? So he has added his point also, but nicely, very soft way, he reads successor. Hey, what is that? Who is that fellow? No, it's me. Then after that, teacher smiled and said, look, have you ever seen, have you come across a single person, including you, has asked for freedom, has asked for happiness? Everybody asks for something. Please understand, you are looking at always indirect happiness, not direct happiness. We have a beautiful saying called Dravida Pranayama. I hope you understand. It's a beautiful expression we have, especially in Odisha. We say it's a Odisha expression, very beautiful. Don't do Dravida Pranayama. Means generally we do pranayama this way, okay? Dravida Pranayama means you have to take the hand this way. You understand? Going around and doing it. So that is called Dravida Pranayama, which is almost impossible. So, but if you look at, you smiled at me about with reference to this Dravida Pranayama. With reference to your happiness, that you are seeking happiness, is it not like Dravida Pranayama? You want to be happy through money. You want to be happy through kama, the pleasure. You want to be happy through different means. Is it not like Dravida Pranayama? That's why if you are really interested in happiness, if really you are interested in freedom, you will make yourself eligible for this. Whereas if you are not interested in happiness or freedom, you want to just pass time, you want indirect, please understand, indirect happiness. Means not real happiness, the shadow of happiness. That is how the beautiful point. You are looking for shadow of happiness, not real happiness. So when you are looking for the shadow of happiness, definitely you will not make yourself eligible. You will expect everything should fall on your plate. So that if everything falls on your plate, remember, you will not be able to eat. Even if you eat, you will not be able to digest either. Because in order to digest, your digestive fire has to be strong. If your digestive fire is not strong, even if the best thing is on your plate, will you be able to eat? Will you be able to enjoy? That is what happens, people. People have everything now. What you don't have? Money, power, everything you have. Relationship, everything you have. But in reality, you don't have anything. Because in short, you are not making yourself prepared for it. You expect everything should happen in your life. That's why it says, one has to make one's own self eligible. There, this Vivek Chudamani says, one has to be Medhavi Purusha. So Medhavi Purusha means the person must have Medha, means able to recollect right time, right things. Not that, whatever we have discussed, every time you look at the notebook. You should be able to reconnect whatever classes we have done. So that it becomes easier, because or else what will happen, right time if you are not able to recollect, you will make a wrong decision in your life. Remember, whenever you make some wrong decisions in your life, how do you make? Because you are not able to recollect at that moment properly. So the person has to be medhavi. And not only that, this intelligence has to be there. The person, really a learned person, has to have intelligence, has to be able to be recollect right time. And of course, at the same time, the person must have, uha poha vichakshana buddhi, must be able to argue. That uha poha vichakshana means must be able to really argue with one's own self, not with others. You are very capable of arguing. Always you argue with others to defeat others. Because I listen to some of you, okay? You people try to question me, try to challenge me, try to this, that, okay? Because you want to impose your ideas on me. I should dance according to your tune. It happens, students also do with the teacher, which is very unfortunate. Yes, I do sometimes, I allow to make you to grow. But remember, that is not truth, that is not right either. However, says beautifully, that you should have this sort of intelligence. You should have that sort of skill to argue with yourself. When a thought comes, a thought says, let me go to some place. Another thought should come. No, it's not necessary at all. Why should I do it? Why should I go for it? Please understand. I have to be very clear in this regard. That is it really necessary? The argument should be there always to look at me, myself. But what I always argue in my favor. I never argue for others. Have you ever argued for others? Always you argue for yourself to make your ego stronger. Please understand, if you are arguing for yourself, to make your ego, your whims and fancies, your way of thinking to continue, you cannot be adhikari. You cannot call yourself as a mumukshu either. That's why all these things are required. That's why which is said in the first verse opening itself. Let us introduce the verse so that I will stop the class while introducing it. Says, Bihaya enaha. That statement very clearly says, enaha means papam. So papam means the omissions and commissions, not sin, okay? There are many things you have omitted that you have committed. So in technically what we call as nishiddha karma. So that means the person, nishiddha karma means that is not supposed to be done. You need to stop that. That means who will say this is nishiddha karma? This is not to be done. That means the person must be a astika. So astika generally people translate as theist. Nastika translates as atheist. It's a wrong translation. Okay? Astika means theist, atheist. If you look at theist means what? The one who believes in God. Atheist means the one who does not believe in God. But it's wrong. Astika buddhi means the one who believes Veda as a pramana. And Nastika means the one who does not believe Veda as pramana. It is not believing God and not believing God. Don't divide into two categories. It's like, we say, along astikas you can discuss. Exactly like if you observe this point. For example, a Hindu believes in God. Let us start with a religious standpoint. Also, a Islam person believes in God. A Christian also believes in God. Let us look at these three major religions. Now, can a Hindu discuss or talk with a Muslim? Will that person listen to you? Will come to the discussion? Or can you talk to a Christian either? It's difficult because each one believes in their God. Whereas we look at Veda as a standpoint, the source, that is called pramana, the means of knowledge. So that means the first point of a mumukshu is, or else what will happen, you will be, remember, called not, you will become artharthi. For example, let us look at a Christian believes in going to heaven. So when the person believes in going to heaven, now tell me, is it moksharthi or artharthi? Going to heaven means what? There permanently you will be secured. So are you looking for security? Means artharthi or moksharthi? You look at anything. This is what to be analyzed. This is what to be understood very carefully. That's why what you need to do here is, the first qualification of a mumukshu is has to have astika buddhi, must look at Veda as pramana, as means of knowledge. This is the first point. And of course, looking at Veda as means of knowledge, must have some exposure, must have some lifestyle, must have seen the limitations of one's own functioning, which has been discussed where? In Mandukya Upanishad, where it is talked the characteristics of a student. Pariksha lokan karmachitan nasti akruta krutenaiti. So pariksha lokan means the one who has examined this world. That means the person have some intelligence, that whatever I am looking for, whatever I am really running behind, what for, is not good, is not sufficient either. It is not enough. That I have to understand very carefully. This is the first step. And of course, that person here, he says, Bihaya enaha. That person will be able to get rid of, will be able to keep a distance from ena, from omission and commission. If this maturity is not there, you will be continuing your life the way you want, because you want momentary pleasure. You want quick pleasure. You want everything to be quick fixed, because there is something in India we call quick fix, okay? So if you put one drop and put both the hands, it also joins. So everything you want to fix quickly. Remember, there is, except this quick fix liquid, there is nothing called quick fix. Very tough. It is slow fixing, okay? Sometimes not fixing at all. That's another thing, issue altogether. So remember, here we should say very carefully, that time you will be able to manage to create a distance between you and what you are not supposed to do. When you see some maturity in you, when you are not under the influence of your ego, your, let us say, likes and dislikes, then only you will be able to keep a distance. That's why they say, Bihaya enaha. First thing is, learn to stop doing what is not to be done. So when you do that, what will happen is, you will see a beautiful thing. You will not waste a lot of time in order to face yourself. Because when you do what is not to be done, or what are not to be done, what happens? There is a fear in you. You do not know how to face. And that fear keeps haunting you all the time. And if you have fear, how can you be a freedom? How can you be a free person? A fearful person cannot be free either. That's why the first characteristic of a mumukshu is to be free from fear. Means here the sense of guilt. Then question may arise, okay, I understand, but how to manage this thing? Mind will keep jumping, mind will keep functioning. How to look at that? Don't worry, that we'll see tomorrow at the same time. Please close your eyes.